Hi, it's Wednesday. And I know I said that I wasn't going to record anything until Thursday after my exam, but my exam on Thursday is an open note exam. I already went through all my notes, perfected it, added in anything else that I might need during the exam. I understand all of the things. There is nothing left for me to prepare for this exam. I don't need to memorize these things. That's a waste of time because I have my notes during the exam. And during exam prep, studying, waiting on the exam to start, being in the bus and everything, I've been making cthulhus, like the babies. And I was just like doing some math. I have to take note of how much time I spent working. So like making stock, admin, editing for YouTube, recording for YouTube, packing orders, walking to the post office, everything, all of that counts as working, right? Because there's like a tax benefit if you work a certain amount of hours in the year. And I'm averaging 10-hour days minimum, and that is when I like take off all the time I spent on my phone, take off time to eat, take off time to go to the toilet, which a real business, so like somewhere where you work and you can just go get a coffee and to the toilet and whatever and still counts as hours work, wouldn't do that. I work an absurd amount. This is fucked up. These people aren't going to believe me when I come at the end of the year with my hours worksheet. I'm like, yeah, I work like triple the normal amount of hours someone works. It's a very good thing that I film, so I'm documenting that I actually work this much, kind of, as proof. But I don't even document everything, I just show what I made, and then they're gonna be like, I don't believe it takes that long. Anyway, I have one Cthulhu head here, and a partial body, but then I got sidetracked and decided that I wanted to film. We have a set. I'm not sewing these together yet, by the way. I'm doing that when I'm done making these. Like when I look at them and I go, I don't want to do this anymore. There's 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh wait, that's 2 heads. 5, 6. I'm just gonna count the heads for these green ones. I thought it was 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, 5. 5, 6, 11, and a partial one, 11 and a half, 3/4 more. They take me a little under an hour to make, and when I first made these, they took me like 2 hours to make. So that's insane improvement. I'm very happy about that. That's basically giving me a raise, because why would I lower the price if I just got more efficient? That's just rude to people that bought them when I was less efficient too. Anyway, that's cool. These are stock for the convention. I already had like 5 or 6 of them, I think, in stock, unless I sold one in between, I don't remember. So that would be like 18 now. And the goal is to have at least 30. I was working on my little market prep goals, or like convention prep goals, and I am very happy with my progress and what I already have. It feels reasonable to have the amount that I want to have. I will make a separate video on the goals and where I'm at and all that stuff. That feels like I should include that at least a little bit in the actual video about going there to the convention. And I also decided that I really like that I'm going to a tabletop RPG market. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, decrease row. Because I talk about this a lot and I sound very unsure of it, and that's because I am. Copyright scares me, right? Like, I like making fan art. I like making creatures from public shows and things that are fun to watch, and from video games. But I can't sell those because they're copyrighted. I can make them for fun and to give to my friends and stuff like that, but I cannot sell them. The tabletop RPG market doesn't give me that anxiety, because Cthulhu's public domain. That's how old it is, right? And most fantasy monsters, unless you make it, model it specifically after one from a specific game, movie, or series, they cannot be copyrighted. The concept of a dragon is not copyrighted. If I were to make the exact dragon from, what's the fucking movie, Lord of the Rings? I don't even know his name. If I were to make a dragon that looks exactly like that one, they could potentially get mad at me. But just a dragon, no one can claim that, right? A slime cannot be claimed. Technically, a Mind Flayer and a gelatinous cube can. But because a gelatinous cube is also a Minecraft slime, and the concept of a square slime is not unique, all you have to do is just not name it a gelatinous cube. That is the only rule that I have to follow. Don't name it after the copyrighted creature. And that's a lot less stressful than trying to figure out the limits of anime fan content, right? Because I know for a fact that if I wanted to make Spy X Family merch, I could make the dog Bond, because he's just a white dog with a black bow tie, right? They can't claim that. But you can't make any of the characters. You can't make Anya's plushie because that one is too specific and whatever. You can't make anything that is more specific than just the dog. That's the problem with most of these things. And even though a lot of people are telling me like, hey, the Pokemon Company doesn't actually care, like it's still in their legal papers. I looked into it, by the way. It's in their legal agreements that you're not allowed to make money off of it. You're allowed to make fan art, and technically they own all of the rights to it. Which is funny to me because I've seen a lot of weird stuff in Pokemon fan art. So they own all of that, just like Disney. Disney also owns all the fan art legally. They're allowed to do whatever they want with it, including using it for their financial gain. So if you make Disney fan art or Pokemon fan art, those companies can just use it to sell merch of your art, and you can't do anything against that. That's in their legal agreement. They don't have to ask you, they don't have to notify you, they don't have to compensate you. You have no rights in that. But it says in the agreement that you're not allowed to make money off of it. You're allowed to make it for yourself, you're allowed to gift it to your friends, you're not allowed to sell it. So I won't be doing that. I know certain companies or franchises like Genshin Impact do support fan merch because they don't make their own merch like that. So then it's free advertising. But I am too scared and too tired and all those things to look into that properly. To properly research which companies allow it under which circumstances. Because the circumstances and the limits are different for all of the companies that allow that and to a certain degree. So I'm just gonna wait until potentially like 10 years from now where I have a tax guy and a legal advisor to tell me if I'm allowed to do something and what I have to do to be allowed to do it. And until then I'll be making dragons and like cute animals. I have settled on it. I'm not gonna listen to anyone telling me like, oh, but you don't really get in trouble for it because they don't care because you're too small of a business. It's like, it's technically not allowed. So I'm not even going to risk it. I'm going to continue to make fan art for myself and my friends, right? Because it's fun and I like it. But it's not a business. The business is in the things that are just cutesy, non-recognizable, or public domain. Apparently the original Mickey Mouse is now public domain, like the one on the boat that does a little whistle, and people are going insane over it. Just like a Pooh Bear without a shirt is public domain. As soon as you put the red shirt on him, it's copyrighted. And I had a funny talk with my boyfriend recently about how we are going to lose our mind when Pokemon enters the public domain. Like, we're going to be alive, most likely then. Assuming we reach the age of like 90, we're going to see the first gen of Pokemon enter public domain. And that's hilarious to me because then it's all legal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Without having to ask for permission, get a written form, get a little agreement of paying them a certain amount of your profits or any of that shit. At that point, you're allowed to just do whatever the fuck you want. I find the concept of public domain kind of funny, but it does make a lot of sense. Like, after the creator is most definitely dead, it makes sense that after some time, you can't claim any rights over it. Like, the company that owns it, yeah, sure, but they didn't make it. I don't know, I'm on a decreased row, so I have to count. I'm just happy that Cthulhu is in the public domain. I know that I looked this up before I started making them, because I was like, I'm pretty sure this is safe, let me check it. And then I rechecked it again to make extra sure before I started on this tangent, because I did not want to be a hypocrite and have someone reveal to me, actually, that is still copyrighted, you just read it wrong. No, he is public domain. I'm very happy about that. And the general research of which characters that I do are just like too broad of a concept to be claimed, or are just completely unique and fine. Like, I make the little mushy guys, and they are someone else's pattern. I credit them for the pattern they made. This is what I meant a while ago with crochet is weird, because patterns are copyrighted, but almost every pattern writer allows you to sell your finished items. So that's like a weird thing of copyright, where you just have to credit and it's fine. Number 12. In the bag. Like the walking mushroom guys, there's a lot of walking mushroom type creatures in fantasy, but because that is too broad of a concept, they cannot claim it. And that's funny to me, but also weird, because a lot of characters that are copyrighted are super basic and totally not unique, in my opinion, right? Like, a lot of Pokemon, I feel like random kids could accidentally draw a Pokemon that exists just because of how many there are and how basic some of them are, right? Like, Krabby is literally just a crab. The ice cream Pokemons, that's not unique or quirky. Like, I'll give it to them for like the legendaries and stuff like that. Those look really unique. But most of the basic ones, I feel like someone could accidentally make that and then get sued because they didn't know, which is sad. That was my little ramble. I will be continuing to make more Cthulhus. I'm at 12 now. Hi, it's me again. About an hour passed because it takes me about an hour to make one of these, minus the eye stuffing sewing. Started one in this mossy green. I took downstairs, okay wait, first off, the 5 in this green, they're different greens. These 5, I just used 2 full skeins, so I thought I have this partial skein. This was already partial, I used a tiny bit of it. So I'll take down 2 more of those, and then that'll be like 6 or 7. And then I have 2 of this little foresty color, and that'll be 5. But then I would have 25 or 24 of them, I'm not sure. And that sounds like a bit much, honestly. Like, the main reason that I'm selling these and that I am not just making projects for myself and for fun, but also for sale, is because I crochet all day, every day, because it is my stress relief and I enjoy doing it a lot. And I enjoy doing the same thing over and over again, because I'm just now getting a little bit bored of these, right? Like, I've made 13, basically 2 whole days split over 3 days. 13 of them, and I'm just now thinking, I kind of want to make something else. If I wasn't selling these, I would be a hoarder. Good thing I'm selling them, so this is work and productive, and I should feel good about it instead of looking at it and going, wow, that's concerning, why do you like doing that? I'm gonna sew them up. I am deciding that I am bored of this, I want to switch to the next. And then I'll do this again in like a week. The next was the little mushy guys. These are my own pattern, by the way, the Cthulhus. I am going to film a tutorial for them this weekend or next week, depending on my soup after my exam and my final deadline. and all of that stuff. Everything that I say that I want to do always depends on my soup. Soup is how I refer to the state of my brain, right? Like brain soup. I always forget this isn't a common term because I've been using it for literal years. Your brain has juice in it, or like some kind of liquid, and that transports hormones and stuff and nutrients. So if your brain soup is bad, you're having bad hormones or bad mood and all that stuff. And if your brain soup is good, then you have high energy and happy and all that stuff. That's how I refer to things. The state of my soup is basically the state, my mental state. If I finish my final deadline this Friday and I am just sitting there like, then I'm not gonna record a tutorial because you're gonna notice that in me. And I think it's bad when you can tell that someone's not doing well and then they're forcing content. That doesn't vibe well with me. Anyway, I'm gonna sew these up now, which is good because I'm also starting to feel my wrist a little bit, which isn't surprising because I have done literally nothing but crochet. Because I can read while crocheting, so while I was studying for my exam, I was churning these out. The way I study, if it's an exam that my boyfriend also has, is we go over the notes together and he asks questions and I explain it. Mostly. And then if he isn't doing the same exam, or if I feel like I need more repetition, I will just like have my document but not be looking at it, and I will just be like reciting things in my own words and then look to see if I forgot anything and stuff like that. So studying for me is a very vocal thing nowadays. I used to write everything like a bunch of times, but I learned that wasn't the most efficient way for me. And now I just pretend like I'm teaching it, and it works. It's been working. It's fine. It's fun. I'm gonna sew these up. Then I'm gonna make mushrooms, bunch of mushrooms. This is a good amount. I think I'm going to make like a little reel of sewing them up, so I'm gonna move to the table. Yes.
Hi, it's Thursday evening now. The exam was weird. I think I did okay, but I did not have fun. I have one mushroom cap and then one... Oh, do not unravel it. One partial one. And then my left wrist started hurting, so I stopped immediately. Left wrist hurt means I can still use my right hand. So I got some creatures. I will put a picture over it so it's easier to recognize. Now I'm gonna make dinner. We're having like sushi today. I'm making sushi, but it's not actually pretty sushi. It's all of the sushi ingredients, and then you put them in a bowl and everyone can wrap their own stuff up or just eat it like a menace. It's fun. This is fun dinner, and also super expensive nowadays because what the fuck. Anyway, that is the state of things. I did not do a lot today. I mostly spent my time at my job and then in an exam, other way around, in an exam hall at my job, and then on the couch decomposing because my soup was weird. Let's go!
Hi, hello. It is Saturday. Exam season is over. I'm gonna sit up straight. That was not very professional. I have finished my essays and my exams. I have one assignment due on Monday morning, but that is for classes start again next week. I already read the chapter. I already looked at the assignment. It's like a pretty quick one. I'll do that later today. I am making some mushy caps. I have 3 in the bag right now. That's not much more than last update, but it is something. I was very focused on reading and writing. I'm gonna talk about the book I wrote the essay on because I did not enjoy it. It's The Promise from Damon Galgut, which I like. I'm gonna say this in the most nuanced way I can. I hated reading it, but I don't think it's a bad book. The story itself is good and meaningful. It's processing a lot of grief. It's talking about apartheid in South Africa, so like the racism and segregation. The Promise is about giving a black woman who is a maid, which is like essentially a slave, but like some hint of fake freedom. there's no way she can get out of the job because she doesn't have enough money for that and stuff like that, but technically not slavery anymore. It's about giving her a house and how the main girl really wants that promise to be fulfilled and all the other family members are trying to stop her from doing it, kind of thing. So that, the message and the overarching themes and all of that, fantastic. Amazing. I get why it won a Booker Prize or like was nominated, I don't remember. But why do old white men always want to write about horny teenage girls? Some examples of parts that made it very uncomfortable for me to read were when the young girl, 13 years old, got home. The first thing she points out is that the dog is licking its nuts. They don't interact with the dog at all in the book, right? Like, they don't pet the dog is not a comfort to them. There's just a few instances in which they look at the dog and go, oh, it's licking its nuts. Like always. Like, that is a comforting thing and normal. Like, it's normal and comforting that the dog is doing what it's always... Neo, no! Baby, why are you doing this? Okay. Right, so dog nuts with a dog that's not interacted with outside of that. Second thing, they talk about how there's many more people in the house than normal because the mum is dead, and because of that the toilet gets more use, and they point it out by saying the specific amounts of fluids getting flushed down the toilet. Kind of weird, but I get why it's in there, I guess. Why is sperm included in those fluids on a day where it's supposed to point out how many people are in mourning in the house and sad and stuff like that? Like, they literally carried the corpse of the mum out of the house 5 minutes ago, and then it's like, this much sperm got flushed down the toilet. Then they mentioned that the older sister, who is, what, 16, 17 at most, lost her virginity that day. Like, literally the day her mum died. And then at the funeral, a few pages later, they point out that at the funeral, she is aroused because she's thinking about her little boyfriend. No? No, thank you. That's not necessary. And also the topic of the essay was talking about why the stream of consciousness style of writing, where he switches between the people and dead people and animals and just uses the very flowy way of writing and interacting with characters' thoughts, how that benefits the story. And I talked about how it helps show that the family is still connected even though none of them actually like each other, because they have very similar thoughts and stuff like that. And I also talked about how this stream of consciousness in general fits the book when it's about grief, because stream of consciousness is very unfiltered. You can tell when they're thinking of the same thing a lot, when they're being scatterbrained and all that kind of stuff. And that fits that, Neo, you're staying here because you're breaking stuff. And I talked about how I respect that style of writing, but it is not easy to read. It is hard to read and annoying, just like with Girl, Woman, Over, the book I talked about a few weeks ago, where they don't use punctuation, and that has something to do with the message of the book and like the not following rules that are set by other people that you don't like and that don't like you and all that kind of deal. Awesome, meaningful. It is a pain to read, and it does not at all translate to audiobook format. Which I know isn't the biggest issue, but I think that if a massive part of your book gets lost when someone has to have it read to them, because either they are illiterate, blind, or have some attention disorder or anything that makes it so they can't read a book themselves, if a major part of the message of your book is lost in that, that's kind of sad. Like, I'm not saying that's your responsibility as an author, because it's not. You are like intending the medium of content to be reading, so I get that that's not your first priority. I just find it sad. Neo, baby. Baby. Where's it? Here, have a snacky. Stop pushing stuff off the table. You've never done this before. Why are you being a baby? Why are you being mean? Okay. That was the books I read for class. They were like I said, good books, good storylines, good meanings, good messages. I did not enjoy reading them. Then I read the rule book for Mouse Ritter because I want to play it. And it's very simple. Like, it's not as complex as D&D or Pathfinder, and I think I'm actually going to be able to run the game for my friends. So that's fun. And then I started reading a book that was recommended by a friend. This friend is, I don't know what part of her study she's in, but she is doing a study related to primates and just like a lot of research stuff. And she recommended A Primate's Memoir as like a book about a researcher who spent a lot of his life living with monkeys. And I think the start is interesting. It's not what I would usually read, but it is interesting. Right. So I'm gonna be reading more of that throughout the week, I hope. And today I'm primarily going to be making the mushy caps, not the bodies, just the caps. And I'm going to see how charged this is by now. I am charging my Steam Deck because my boyfriend started playing Pal World and he wants me to play with him. And I told him I would when exam season is over, which is now. So we're playing Pal World today. I know nothing about it besides that it has silly little creatures. So good enough for me. Until then, I'm gonna keep making mushrooms, and that is my little update for today. Good morning. It is Sunday. We have this many mushy caps. I have no clue how many. I don't feel like counting right now. And this partial one. I play Pal World. It is definitely overhyped, but I do like it. Right? Like it's very clearly just kind of like a knockoff mixture of Ark and Pokemon. But I like that because it's cute creatures and survival mechanics. And the graphics are a lot more simplistic than Ark, so it runs better. I'm sure there's some other optimization things, but I never really managed to get into Ark because it runs like absolute shit and I don't feel like investing in a better PC or console or anything just to run dinosaur game. Even though I do like the way it looks. My dad plays it a lot. I have seen it. It is fun. I worked on the assignment a little bit. It's a translation assignment. I'm doing an elective course, which is just called translation. And so far, the chapter I read and the assignment we're doing is already catching my attention a lot. I like it. This is exactly what I was hoping for, and I hope that it continues to be that way. Because sometimes the first chapter has me going, ooh, yes, and then later on, they manage to like completely lose my enjoyment of it. I'm still counting. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Yes. Okay. So far, it's talking about how a lot of languages don't have the literal same words. Like in one language, one word might take a whole sentence to describe in another language. And some things just don't exist because of cultural differences, and some places just don't have a word for something because they didn't need it. Like, the example they gave is that England, or like English in general, has a distinction between cold and cool, which are two different experiences, right? Like cool is pleasant, cold is not. And apparently Arabic has one word to describe both. So then a text that makes a distinction between the two might be harder to translate and portray the same meaning. And then some techniques about how to do that. And then the assignment is translating a text in like as close as possible in the original meaning, and then a text translation in the way that it would catch the attention of the reader. And currently I feel like my English is suffering from the amount of Dutch I've been speaking, which sucks because it used to be the other way around. I used to notice that my Dutch was getting worse, so then I switched back. Now it's a loop, I guess. It's fine. Besides that course, I also looked at some other prep work, but I've already done that prep work technically. Like, it's the first week of classes, most of them don't have a lot of reading. And this is the only course that has a real assignment. So it's all fine. There's one course, and I'm really upset about this. Actually, I think it's very unprofessional, where the syllabus isn't up yet. It's Sunday. Classes start tomorrow, right? Not that class. That class isn't until Friday for everybody. All of the two groups for that class are on Friday. But I still find that incredibly unprofessional. I believe it should be at least a week in advance. Especially when it is a course where last year, I'm retaking this course. Last year, the entire emphasis of this course was starting on time, being early, and getting stuff done before you actually need to, because otherwise it's not gonna work out for you. And it's like, okay, and you're uploading the syllabus 2 days before the class starts? That's a bit questionable. They already let us know that the first class has absolutely no preparation besides reading the syllabus, but it still feels weird. I don't like it. I should get over it, but anyway, I am debating whether I'm going to keep making the mushy caps all day or if I'm just going to turn them into mushies and then work on something else today, tomorrow, whenever I'm done with that. I also would really like to go to the gym today or tomorrow, but my back hurts like a lot. So I don't know if that is smart, but I want to because I haven't been in a while. I tend to not go to the gym in the end of December and January, both because it is very cold to get there, which is not nice for my back. And because in December, it is only the most absolute diehards, try-hard gym bros that are there, and they are intimidating. I don't like being around them. And in January, the gym is crowded and full because everyone has New Year's resolutions, right? But it's the end of January now, so most of the New Year resolution folk that are not following gym etiquette, and that would bother me. Most of those should have already stopped going by now. I'm not saying that having a New Year's resolution like that is bad. I'm just saying that I don't like going at the peak of the New Year's resolution influx. I might just like schedule that tomorrow. I need to like plan out my week because it's the first week of classes. If I don't plan, like use my little notebookie for the first week, I'm not doing it all semester. And if I'm not doing it, I'm gonna forget assignments, which is bad. Finished another cap. I'll count them, it's fine. We have one in blue because I've had blue scraps. 10. That's cool. That's good. I'll start in white now. I'll start making their bodies. We have 10 mushies, that's fine. I'll make more definitely soon, but portions. I could make more of these, but then I think that I'm going to get bored while making the bodies, so it's better to make them in 2 batches then, right? Like 2 sets of 10 make 20. That's making 10 bodies at a time. This is different from the cthulhus because it's not just sewing them up. I have to like start the body, insert the eyes and stuff them before I can finish the body. So it's like a lot more annoying in that sense because you can't batch everything. You can't assembly line style the whole plush. I'll go start that now. Hello, good morning. It is Monday. I started on another mushi. I will be taking these to class with me. Yesterday I finished 3 of them and then I decided to record the tutorial for the baby cthulhus, so that makes it 14 cthulhus and 3 mushis this week. I think I did something before I started the cthulhus, but I honestly don't remember. So that's gonna be my progress pile. Give me a second. The mushies are a bit harder to grab. This is my progress pile for this week. And I had exams and deadlines and stuff, so this is impressive for me. This is all for the convention. This is what I'll be doing for a while probably, because I want to be overstocked. I want there to be absolutely no chance that I run out of stuff before the time of my table is over. Right? Like, if I run out before I have to go home, that's just a waste. That's sad. I would cry. So I'm gonna be doing a lot of this. And I've got to go to class in about 2 hours or something like that. I am prepared for it. That is good. That is nice. I did all my reading. I did my assignments. I'm just gonna be making more mushies until then. And I'm gonna end the video here then, because I talked a lot, and I think otherwise, if I do the entirety of Monday as well, it'll be way too long. Don't want to do that to you. Bye-bye.